So Chris, getting to VMware, it's interesting because you guys really ushered in a complete fundamental change of how we did internal IT probably about a decade ago within healthcare and virtualized that whole environment and then layered all the things, put automation on top of it, secured it, now have virtualized storage and network and everything else. How are you guys going to play in the next round of change around this digital foundation for the consumerization of healthcare?
Yeah, I think there's an important point that Clark made earlier is that we've always tried to do it on our own in healthcare, right? And I have this experience having come from the other side of the desk and into the partner world is that we always tried to build it on our own. So we were always laggards. So we're starting to see an industry shift in how they're adopting technology to meet consumers' demands and needs. I think that's important. It's an important aspect because it's not just about the clinicians that you're serving anymore. It's not just about the patients also. Those consumers are changing as well. The expectation of keeping talent in-house because people have expectations of technology that they're using because we've consumerized technology so much. So they want it a certain way, like Vic said earlier also. They have a certain expectation of how they're going to do their jobs and their works. So I think from a VMware perspective is that we've got the secret sauce, right? So we've done some very slick things over the past few years. And if you look at our history where we started, people still consider VMware just a virtualization company, right? Well, we do so much more than just virtualization in your data center. Now we're extending that virtualization not only into storage, into networking, but also into security now, where security is inherent in the platform. It's just ingrained into it. It's intrinsic, so to speak, right? And we're changing how people do their work, which is very critical because people have an expectation of how they're going to do their work. What the consumer doesn't care about is what it takes to get their application anymore. They have the expectation that the application is just going to be presented to them in the form and fashion that they see fit. And they're going to have an experience time and time again. Where VMware plays in that space is we're making the lives of the IT departments, those providing this type of service, as simple as humanly possible by giving them the opportunity to take advantage of consistency within the infrastructure. So whether that's the compute, the networking, the storage, and then changing how they're operating. No longer are you constrained or bound to the four walls of your data center, where you can now start to look at workloads and move those workloads where you see fit from an operational standpoint. Important point here when we start to talk about healthcare and healthcare delivery, Bill, as you know, being that CIO from just a few years ago, is that are the applications ready for that kind of movement in this world? So we're looking at it from the lens of how can we not only change the infrastructure, which is providing that service, but how are we now addressing the application and that portfolio so you have that seamless experience while securing that entire ecosystem in one fell swoop. It's definitely not an easy task, but it's a task that we're definitely up to because we value how the providers are using technology. We want to see better outcomes to those patients that are being seen in the clinics or wherever they want to be seen. And we want to use technology as a differentiator to take away the bounds for how healthcare is being delivered. So VMware is going to play a very critical and important role in that because we see care not just at the bedside anymore, but care has got to be a part of everybody's lives on a day-to-day basis as we're taking care of populations.